Vocabulary for comparison and contrast. Guys, today's video is going to have 5 parts. Part 1, we're gonna discuss the difference between comparison and contrast. Part 2, I'm gonna teach you some elementary words. Part 3, some intermediate words. Part 4, advanced words. So after each part, I'm gonna make it a little more difficult from A1, A2 to B1, B2, and finally C1. And then guys, part 5, a paragraph. We will read a paragraph and you guys will see how practical and useful all these terms are. So after watching this clip, you should know how to compare and to contrast. So guys, just don't forget to subscribe and let's watch the video. Comparison versus contrast. Guys, in comparison, we focus on the similarities. However, in contrast, we focus on the differences. So comparison for similarities, contrast for differences. One pronunciation point. As a verb, contrast. As a noun, contrast. Contrast, contrast. Now let's watch part 2. Elementary words. But, however, yet, still, although, while. Many French dishes are basically simple, but they can take a long time to prepare. However is a synonym for but, guys. This is a cheap and simple process. However, there are dangers. It is a cheap and simple process, but there are dangers. Many French dishes are basically simple. However, they can take a long time to prepare. She does not speak our language, and yet she seems to understand what we say. She does not speak our language, but she seems to understand what we say. This is a cheap and simple process, yet there are dangers. The hotel was terrible, still we were lucky with the weather. The hotel was terrible, but we were lucky with the weather. Or the hotel was terrible, and yet we were lucky with the weather. So you can use all these terms as synonyms. Although, guys, is really important. Although many French dishes are basically simple, they can take a long time to prepare. So you put although in the beginning of a sentence. Let me restate the previous sentences with although. The hotel was terrible. Still we were lucky with the weather. Although the hotel was terrible, we were lucky with the weather. Although she does not speak our language, she seems to understand what we say. Although this is a cheap and simple process, there are dangers. Although many French dishes are basically simple, they can take a long time to prepare. So you just put although in the beginning of a sentence. While, we use while just like although. While never a big eater, he did snack a lot. Although he was not a big eater, he did snack a lot. Intermediate words. Let's start with even though. Even though he left school at 16, he still managed to become prime minister. Guys, even though it's just like although, although he left school at 16, he still managed to become prime minister. In spite of. In spite of the problems they face, they are happy with the life they lead. Although they had all these problems, now they're happy with their life. You can use them as synonyms. Even though they faced a lot of problems, they are happy with the life they lead. Now we have on the other hand. Gene wanted to go to the movies. His wife, on the other hand, wanted to stay home and read. Gene wanted to do something, on the other hand, but his wife wanted to do something else. We have this example on the one hand, on the other hand. They say that, okay, exercise, on the one hand, exercising is good for your body. On the other hand, you might get injured, and that injury might be with you the rest of your life. Nevertheless, I was born and grew up in Switzerland. Nevertheless, Italy is the country that I have grown to love and where I now live. I was born and grew up in Switzerland, but Italy is the country I love. I was born and grew up in Switzerland. However, Italy is the country that I love. Although I was born and grew up in Switzerland, I love Italy. So, guys, all these sentences have the same meaning, concept, but different wording. Whereas the city has spent over $1 billion on its museums and stadium, it failed to look after its schools. Although they spent this huge amount of money on museums, they couldn't take care of their schools. That's just it. So whereas is kind of tricky, I know that because of the word where, but yeah, simple, just like although and while. Now, guys, advanced words. The first one, on the contrary. Didn't you find that film exciting? On the contrary, I nearly fell asleep halfway through it. Guys, we use on the contrary in order to give a different idea. For example, they thought that people would love the movie. On the contrary, they all hated it, or nobody went to the cinema to watch it. So, on the contrary, we introduce a different idea. So this is the question. Do you find that film exciting? No, I fell asleep halfway through it. Next, in contrast with. In contrast with last year's profits, the company is not doing very well. You know, last year they were successful, but this year they're not doing well. Next, we have nonetheless. The region was extremely beautiful. Nonetheless, Gerard could not imagine spending the rest of his life there. The region was beautiful, but Gerard didn't want to spend the rest of his life there. You know, nonetheless, it's just like but, however, the region was beautiful. However, Gerard could not imagine spending the rest of his life there. So it's just like but and however, but it's just a fancy word. Conversely, American consumers prefer white eggs. Conversely, British buyers like brown eggs. Although American consumers prefer white eggs, British buyers like brown eggs. American consumers prefer white eggs, but British buyers like brown eggs. Conversely. Now let's read a paragraph. First of all, guys, let me tell you something. This is not a well developed paragraph, it's just a normal paragraph. And we just want to read so we get familiar with those terms that I just taught you in text and in context. Although both cats and dogs are popular pets, they have many differences. Cats are independent animals, whereas dogs are more social and like to be around people. You know, both cats and dogs are popular, but they have differences. Cats are independent, but dogs are more social. So, we don't use but, we use these great terms. Cats are known for their agility and ability to climb and jump. On the contrary, dogs are known for their loyalty and protective nature. So cats are known for this and dogs are known for that. There is this difference here. Nevertheless, we talked about all these differences, but both cats and dogs can make great companions and provide love and affection to their owners. But they are just perfect pets. That's it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and thank you.